Hey, I'm Mike.
Hey, I'm Chris.
This is Mike and Chris Reloaded. This week we're going to be talking about the generation of the video game consoles.
Yeah, we got quite a bit to talk about, so we probably need to just go ahead and jump right into that, don't we?
Yeah, hold on to your pants. I'll start off with the video game was invented by Ralph H. Baer in 1966. However, that was not the release of the first console.
Uh,
The first console was the Magnavox Odyssey in 1972.
And I was still not born then, so I'm not
Yes,
that
you were.
old.
Don't lie. Why are you lying
I
now?
I was not born then, man. Look, don't
Hey,
don't try to make me older than I am.
hey.
All right.
Wheels were square when you were a kid, okay?
Dirt was already invented,
That's right. The Magnavox Odyssey had sold 350,000 units and retailed for only $99.
which by inflation that is more than an Xbox One cost when its launch date. So it's $560 if you count inflation.
Right. And you got to count inflation. Um, we were looking at this, and the funny part was that there's 28 games for this, and Chris was looking at all the different games. And let me tell you, it is hilarious. I mean, you got basketball, which is
Which was basically you had one person on one side, one person on the other side bouncing a ball back and forth.
and then you had hockey,
Which was one person on one side and one person on the other side bouncing a ball back and forth.
and you had tennis.
Which was one person on one side and one person on the other side bouncing a ball back and forth.
So you pretty much get the gist of what this system did.
Can anyone say Pong?
Yeah. Which brings us to the next one, which was Atari's Pong, which was just the Pong itself. That came out in 1975.
Yes, and if anyone's ever played Pong, I'm sure that was pretty addicting. It sold 150,000 units, which is pretty good for a console that only played one game.
Yeah. I don't know
Uh,
if I would say that.
Again, when it came out, though, it was only like $100 though. So, you spend $100. That's
Eh,
hours and hours of fun. So,
True. Which is hit one ball from one side of the screen to the other side of the
yes,
screen.
or you could have spent $100 on the Magnavox Odyssey and got 3 different ones.
Yeah. I think there was like 6 or 7 different ones you were telling
Who
me.
knows? I know half of the ones that came out were just about identical. So.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Go ahead and take us into the next one there,
The
Chris.
next one we got coming out was the Coleco Telstar, which ran from 76 to 78. Again, a lot of Pong style games in that one. I guess they're just, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So
Yeah.
they just kind of stuck with that. There wasn't really much to tell about that. Most of these consoles only lasted for like a year or two back then. I guess people kind of got tired of playing the same thing over and over again, which finally in 1977 Atari come out.
Yeah, the 2600 system, which retailed at $199.99.
Which was kind of a lot of money back then.
Yeah, what was that equivalent to?
Today's inflation is equivalent to $777.
Yeah.
So you just bought a computer back then, basically.
This system sold pretty well. This system, it grossed $2 billion in 1980.
Yeah, which is phenomenal for back then. It came with 2 joysticks and it came with Combat. If anyone's ever played Combat, that was.
I actually haven't played Combat.
What? How have you not played Combat?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't play Combat.
That's like the greatest. I mean, that was like before Mario Kart pissed people off. Combat pissed people off.
What was Combat?
You had like tanks and you had like planes and everything else. It was just basically one person against one person or 2 people against 2 people.
I have played it.
So yeah, you had tanks and planes, and then I always loved playing the tanks, and then you fix the walls where the bullets bounce.
Yep, I have played it. So, they said that by the year 1982, the Atari 2600 sold 10 million units.
Which is pretty phenomenal because even consoles nowadays don't hardly sell that many. It seems like. Um, in '82 the 5200 came out, which was I guess their super system, and they were all actually backwards compatible with the 2600 and everything too.
Right, that's definitely a good thing. Backwards compatibility started in the 80s for us, so
Remember that, you game people.
yeah. They said The Atari 5200, it didn't do quite as well as the 2600, but it sold 1 million units. So that's what I have here.
They started progressing little by little. Next out came the Intellivision, which didn't sell quite as many as the Atari, but it did sell 3 million units. Of course, its price point started out at $299, which is ridiculous. But its best-selling game was actually a Major League Baseball game. The Intellivision, I don't know if anyone's ever seen it or heard of it or played it or whatever. It actually had like a little keypad with a little round joystick. So it was kind of different. But that ran from 1980 to 84, with 4 years in production. So it had a good little run, I guess.
Here, the next system then would be the ColecoVision.
Which I actually owned one of those, sir.
Yeah, I did not. I was, one in 1982? Or no, I'm just kidding. 3. But that ran from 82 to 85.
Yes, it sold actually 2 million units, which is more than the Intellivision. But it had some good titles. I remember playing that game Venture, which was scary as crap. Zaxxon, which is a space battle game. Of course, that had Donkey Kong. It was the first time it had Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I was going to see if anybody knew what the best-selling game was for the ColecoVision, but I was surprised when I read that it was Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Oh, hey, man.
I thought that was a Nintendo thing, but they must have bought the licenses afterwards.
They probably did. I didn't really investigate that too much.
No, I didn't investigate it either, so. That brings us to,
the big guns.
Yeah, pretty much my childhood, the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1985.
It was released in Japan in 83.
Yeah.
It's called the Famicom.
Right.
Then it was released in the U.S. in 85.
Yep, and they sold 61 million units of that. And it didn't discontinue until 1995.
Yes. Which I know they came out with several different sets you can get. They had the deluxe set, which came with like the gun zappers. It came with little Robbie the Robot. I don't know if anyone remembers that thing. It came with 2 controllers. Came with a gyromite, which you use the Robbie the Robot with, a duck hunt. Then they came out, and this is what gets me, and even you see consoles do it nowadays too. You can get the basic setup for the Nintendo was like $90, $89.99, or you can get the Nintendo that came with Super Mario Brothers for $99.99.
Yeah, I didn't price out the games what they cost back then, but I remember them being about $40.
That's about what I remember. I'm paying about $40 for the games. I remember when I first got my system, like I said, it came with Mario Brothers. Played the crap out of that. I remember the very first game I bought, my parents bought me, was Shadowgate.
I loved that game.
The little point and click.
Yep, point and click. You go through like a castle.
My parents were pretty pissed after I beat it in 3 days, but
I replayed that game so much.
But they had several other sets too. They had the action set, which came with the gun. They came with Mario and Duck Hunt. Then they had the Power Pad set, which came with Mario, Duck Hunt, and Track and Field, and also came with the big Power Pad thing you actually ran on.
Right.
So,
that was Nintendo's philosophy in the past, was to try to get you to exercise and play video games. Kind of like they're doing now.
Yeah, really. In 1993, they released the Top Loader one. That was the last one they released before they discontinued in 95. And Mike, I'll happen to tell you that I have a Top Loader Nintendo still in the box up in my closet.
Well, ain't you special?
I am. I've had people offer to buy that thing from me I'm like, no, thank you.
No, I wouldn't sell it either. So, the next system on our list would have been the Atari 7800 in 1986, which retailed for $140.
This one actually had a pretty good run. It ran from 86 to 92 for Atari. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it came with 1 controller. It had backwards compatible with the 2600, which, backwards compatible was important in the 80s too. So
yeah. it was backwards, like you said, it was backwards compatible, and also it. But see, with the release of Nintendo and everything else, Nintendo just started dominating the world market with it. So eventually, Atari just kind of faded into nothing.
Yeah, they went from corporate giants to ET floppers in just a matter of a few years. Did you ever watch that documentary?
No. I know what you're talking about, but I never actually watched it.
Where they're digging up the landfill of the ET, where they dumped like 1 million copies of ET into a big pit and filled it in, and they're excavating it. The next one on our list was the Sega Master System, which ran from 86 to 92.
Again, had a good run. Of course, it sold quite a few more units than some of the other ones. It sold, I think, on average, it said between 10 and 13 million. They're not exactly sure.
But this was actually pretty pricey for back in the day.
At $200, and it didn't really come with much. It came with, like, I think, a controller, and that was it.
Yeah.
But if you want to talk pricey, why don't you go into the next one?
And the TurboGrafx 16. Yeah, that was pretty pricey. It ran from 89 to 95 and sold 10 million units worldwide.
At $400 a unit.
Yeah, it was pricey. I wouldn't have been able to. I don't know how we had one. I had one.
But wait, it gets better here in a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I know which one you're talking about too.
Now you're starting to get into the better consoles. Going forward here, you're getting the 16-bit, consoles. You got 32-bit consoles coming up. The next one after that we went to was the Sega Genesis, which of course I owned one.
I owned one.
Came with Sonic the Hedgehog, which was a great game.
Yeah. It ran from 89 to 99, so it was a 10-year system for back in the day.
Yep. It sold a little over 30 million units, almost 31 million units, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
About $190 is what the console cost. It did come out with an adapter that converted the games to 32 bits from 16 bits.
Right.
No, I don't think all the games converted. I think there were certain games that actually you can use to convert them to.
I never got the adapter, so.
Me neither, but I knew it did have the adapter.
I mean, I played Joe Montana Sports Talk football like crazy on that
Joe
thing,
Montana,
but.
Here we go again.
I know, you listened to it, but they didn't hear it. Joe Montana, back to pass. Pass to number 83.
Hey, nothing beats Tecmo Super Bowl for the Nintendo, okay?
No, you're right. No, I enjoyed Tecmo Super Bowl, but then everybody get Bo Sanders.
Barry Sanders.
No, Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson, not Bo Sanders.
I always pick Barry Sanders.
Bo Jackson was an untackable. Didn't you ever see the Family Guy episode where he's playing as Bo Jackson? So, but the next system ran from 90 to 97, and it was the Neo Geo.
How in the hell did this thing run so long? I do not know. This thing cost $650 to get, and that's with the gold pack. It came with 2 controllers and 2 games. You can get a less pack, which was the silver pack, for $400, but it came with 1 controller. That's it. No games, no nothing.
And the games were $200. So
I don't know how the hell that thing sold for so long.
I don't know, it did. But
oh my God!
They went bankrupt in 2000, though. So
I don't doubt it.
oh
man!
And then the next would have been the Super Nintendo.
Yes, which I had one of them also.
Yeah, I had one. I got rid of it.
In Japan, the Super Famicom.
Yeah.
They weren't really originalists,
I know.
Then again, neither is the U.S. So.
No.
But that sold just about 50 million units, and that brought us some pretty good games introducing here, like Super Mario World. Of course, it brought us the ultimate game that everybody loves to hate people with.
Super Mario Kart.
Yep. I know a lot of friendships and relationships have been ruined over that game.
I was just telling you that friendships and relationships were almost ruined over Super Mario Party.
Yes, we're not going to mention that.
I'm not going to mention the name of the person who threatened to kill and rape my wife. I'll leave them to ponder in their own glory. But you know who you are.
The console was sold at $199. And again, like Street Fighter 2 was one of the bigger ones. Mario Kart, Donkey Kong Country was introduced also to it. So it had some pretty good. I remember playing Super Mario World. Played the crap out of that. Of course, another big one for the Nintendos was I always loved all the Final Fantasy games. So I'm huge into the role playing games.
Yeah, I am too. I play them all. So, but yeah, the Super NES I had fun with Mario Kart. So, but that brings us on back to Atari reemerging in 1993 with the Jaguar.
$250 price point. It sold 250,000 units.
Yeah, not so good.
Do we need to go any further on this one?
No, we're done. Hey, just had to mention it though. Next was the 3DO.
Again, you're getting back up to that whole Neo Geo thing.
Yep. But this one actually sold 2 million units.
The Neo Geo sold. How many did that sell? We don't even have that, do we?
No, we don't.
But yet it stayed in production for that long.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, still, 2 million units at a $700 price point. Someone made some money there.
Yep. Yeah, we don't need to talk too much about this one either. I never played the Neo Geo, so I don't know.
Neither have I. It ran for a few years, and then it was done.
Or the 3DO. So next on our list would be the Sega Saturn.
Yes, now we're getting into the bigger Sega systems.
So that one ran from 95 to 98 and sold 9 million units.
It had a pretty good high price point also at $400.
The only sad part about this unit still ran at a 32-bit rate for $400 when they had the 32X come out in 94. So a year before, it already had the 32-bit system out, yet they're re-releasing another console. So I don't know how it sold 9 million units, but it did. I wouldn't have bought it.
No. Well, again, Sega. They're starting to come into their own. You have the Sega Genesis, the Sega Master System. People see the word. It's like buying a Air Jordans. Oh, Jordans.
Where is Sega now?
Selling
Sonic to other
syndication.
People. Selling Sonic to other people because that's all they got left.
They're in syndication. If you had watched our last show, you'd know what that means.
Yes.
Or listened to our last show, I should say.
The next system that came out was, this is where I'm starting to get into the heavy guns. The PlayStation came out in 94.
Price point was, I would say, probably on par for about that time, $299, and because you got the PlayStation, you're looking at systems now that are running 64 bits of graphic, if not better. They introduced the DualShock controller, of course, not to be confused with the Rumble Pack. Now that was a little extra thing you added to the
Nintendo 64.
But this one actually had the controller was actually a Rumble DualShock
built
controller.
into it,
built into it.
And they actually sold 120 million units of the PlayStation,
which is pretty phenomenal. Now that's combined when they reintroduced the PS1, which was the smaller version in 2000.
Right, and this unit wasn't discontinued until 05, I believe.
Yes.
So, I mean, PlayStation had a pretty good run with the PlayStation 1 console.
11 years, so.
Yeah, I'd take it.
Yeah, I had one. I had two of them, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I played, what was it, Driver, I think. Wasn't Driver, or was that PS2?
I think it was PS2.
Really?
Yes.
No, I think Driver first came out on the PS1.
Maybe.
Somebody answer our question on YouTube, okay? Settle our debate. I'm not Googling it. The next system came out was we were just talking about was the N64.
Yes.
Nintendo 64.
Which sold quite a bit of units also, about 33 million units. Pretty decent price point at $200.
Yeah, that seemed like a going price, right, with this generation is right around $200.
Yeah, its best-selling game was Mario 64. Of course, I think anytime you throw a Nintendo out there, you're going to have Mario in the mix.
Right. And if you read into the news, they just discovered in a warehouse somewhere, I think in San Diego, San Francisco, somewhere out west, they found the failed Nintendo 64 DD, which was actually a disk drive system that was an adapter to the Nintendo 64 that would convert your 64 into being able to read discs. This was released in Japan and failed after a year. So once they filled the warehouse in the United States with them, they just decided to throw them all in the garbage, kind of like E.T. Should have been.
Quit being stuck on the ET, Mike.
I'm sorry, but I thought it was a little bit of interesting information there.
It is.
Next on the list would be the Sega Dreamcast.
Which again, about the same price point, about $200, sold about 9 million units. Didn't have a very strong run, ran from 99 to 01.
Yes, but this is actually the starter, I believe, of online gameplay, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
So
the Dreamcast had it had a I guess Ethernet hookup or whatever, or the dial-up modem, whatever.
Yeah, dial-up modem.
It's hard to remember back then. So we're so used to our Wi-Fi fast.
Back when you were 40.
Yes, back when I was 40. It was limited to what you could do. They had some stuff you can get on there and just kind of, I guess I kind of download on there and stuff like that a little bit, little patches and things. But you couldn't really, they didn't really have the actual online gameplay for console to console or anything else. They did start doing the LAN connections around that time, which leads up to the next console, which is, we're getting even the bigger guns.
Yep. This is where I spent a lot of money on the PlayStation 2.
Which the PlayStation 2 sold 155 million units. It ran from 2000 to 2013.
Yeah, and sold for a price point of $299.
It originally came out in they had their online come out in Japan in 01, and then they came out in the US in 02. I don't know if you remember it, but they had that network adapter for the PS2 you could buy.
Yep.
And then later on, the big fat ones came with the PS2. And then later on, they came out with the slim model, which
was around in 2004.
Yes, I'm glad you have that because I didn't write it down.
Yeah, no, 2004 is when the slim came out.
The slim model, which had the network adapter integrated into the console itself.
Right. And the best-selling game for the PlayStation 2, if anybody can guess, I'll give you a second to think about it. At home, you ready? And it's Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
17 million units.
Yep.
PlayStation 2 ran, the servers ran all the way up till this year, actually. It just discontinued in March of this year. The last game that was on there was Final Fantasy 11.
Right.
So that's pretty good, actually, considering, they kept it up that long. And you can still, like, the PS3 servers are still going.
Yeah, I never understood Final Fantasy 11.
It's just one of, like, kind of the MMO style game.
I know, I'm not a big... I don't understand MMOs. Why play a game you can never beat?
Well, that's the name of it, MMO, Massive Multiplayer Online Game.
Yeah, but there's no winning.
Yeah, you just go do. It's meant to go out and do camaraderie with your friends and get in parties, whatever.
And get virtually married,
I guess.
And have virtual children,
or if you're some kind of sly thief or something, you can come up behind someone and prison shank them, like I've seen someone do, and she knows who I'm talking about.
Yep, somebody's getting called out again. Boy, we're just calling people out tonight. So the next one on our list, or do you have any more you want to talk about on PlayStation 2?
No, I'm good on that.
All right, man. The next one that came out would have been the GameCube in 2001.
It ran from 01 to 07. Sold about 22 million units.
The only thing about the GameCube that I thought was funny was it wasn't a DVD drive.
No.
And have they ever produced a DVD drive? Did the Wii have the DVD drive?
Nope.
I didn't think so.
Neither did the Wii U.
That is just, I don't get it. Why?
Well, because Nintendo's not focused on their entertainment. They're focused on video or entertainment like that. They're focused on their games.
Yeah, but the speed of the drive alone would increase their graphics, wouldn't it have?
Not necessarily.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about Nintendo's philosophy and graphics later on.
Yeah. They, like you said, they had no disk drive. They did have a network adapter you can plug in, I guess, to go on their to whatever they had there. I don't even know what they had.
I don't remember back then, but it launched for $199, and its best-selling game was Super Smash Brothers, which was a huge hit.
Yeah, 7 million copies is what that sold.
Yeah, I remember when we had the game store, everybody kept asking us to do a Super Smash Brothers tournament. Did we ever do one?
No.
No?
We never did.
Did a Halo tournament.
We did a Halo tournament, yes we did.
Never did a Smash Brothers tournament. But the next one, my personal baby, which introduced to my gaming, my online gaming, was Xbox, the original one.
Original Xbox. And here's the thing. I had a PlayStation 2. Okay.
I had a PlayStation 2 as well.
I was always pro PlayStation 2, and I didn't want to play an Xbox. The controllers, remember the massive controller?
I remember.
Big Bertha or whatever it was called.
I always bought the Mad Cats ones because they were smaller. Ones. Yeah.
But the controllers were just massive. I just couldn't get it. And we've talked about this before. That I told you I was never really into first-person games ever. And that's what it seemed like Xbox was just like geared towards first-person.
First-person shooters. I agree. It is.
But, after getting one after a while, and then nowadays everything's first-person. So it's like either,
Yeah. Halo 2 sold 8 million copies. I was one of those people waiting in line to pick it up.
I don't even remember where I was for Halo 2, man.
I do. I was working at TLE as your boss, and I went home for a 3-hour lunch that day. And I sat home and drank beer and played Halo 2 and went back to work with beer on my breath.
Well, that's incriminating.
I don't care. What are they going to do? Fire me? Take back my severance package?
Yeah, really.
It's been, 15 years now?
If not.
14 years?
Yeah, 14.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, we were talking about it the other day about how long we've known each other. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago, but Halo, the original Xbox lasted from 01 to 09 and launched at $299.
And Xbox brought us something pretty great the next year, which is still going strong. It's with quite a bit of, I don't even know. Did we even look that up?
No, we didn't. We should have looked it up. Yeah. I know it was just a crazy number, but Xbox Live came out in was it 02?
02, November of 2002. Xbox Live launched, which if anyone who plays Xbox knows, that's their core thing now. It's all about online gaming.
Which that's the type of gamer I am. So.
I am too, to an extent, but I like to play with people that I know. I can't stand together and play with a bunch of people I know.
I only play with people I know. That's all I play with is people I know. Of course, I did meet my best friend, Dre Womack is his username online. In Halo 2, actually. We were camping out on a base. Our whole team had quit. It was just me and him versus a team of 4. And we held them off for victory. And we've just been playing together and talking ever since. He came up and visited me and everything.
We're just name dropping and calling people out left and right today, aren't we?
Yeah, I didn't give his real name though, so he's safe.
According to my sources here, about 48 million people are active on Xbox Live right now.
That's just crazy.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that is insane. The Xbox really didn't wait too long to give us the next console. And the Xbox 360, they released just 4 years later in 2005. But yes. The Xbox 360 did have staying power. It lasted until just discontinued this year.
Yeah, it lasted quite a bit. I remember some of the launch titles. We were talking about Oblivion.
Right.
Call of Duty was great. when it launched. Of course, it's not their best-selling game.
No, it's not their best-selling game.
This is so biased. I can't believe we're actually even saying it.
Yeah, the best-selling game was Connected Ventures.
Why?
Because it was bundled with the Kinect and the Xbox.
So when you got a console that sells about 84, 85 million copies of the console, and obviously if you're going to bundle the game with it, it's going to be the best-selling game.
Yeah, it's not fair, but Nintendo does it later on. We'll be talking about Nintendo. It holds the number one slot for best-selling game. And I just don't think it's right that they do, because it was a bundled game as well, but...
Yeah, well... So now, when I remember when the 360 launched, they had some pretty big issues.
Yes, RROD.
Yep, and if everybody knows have ever had a 360, you know exactly what we're talking about. The 3 red rings of death.
Yes, and I've gone through 5. That's right, 5 Xbox 360s. And I was just telling Chris while we were here doing some research that my last 360 just spontaneously combusted a year back ago. I was sound asleep and my wife woke me up and said something's smoking. And I come out into the living room and I pull my entertainment center back and I look at my power brick and there's flames shooting up my wall from my power brick on my 360. So I definitely say that was an original Xbox, because they just kept replacing them with the original Xboxes. They never replaced them with the fixed problems ones. So,
well, they got to get rid of them somehow.
Yeah, but they did come out with a nice one in the Elite in 07.
Yes, the Elite came out 07, which actually extended the memory. It went from 20 gig system to 120 gig. Of course, the price point on it was ridiculous.
Yeah, $479.
Yeah, that's.
Well, I mean, not that much crazier, because that launch had the Xbox 360 was $399. So.
Yeah.
I mean, then they came out with the Slim 250 HD model in 2010.
Yeah, it had 250 gig. That was at $299 price point.
That's like my sweet spot for a video game system is 250. That's where I think all video game systems should be.
You have to nowadays, because everything is downloadable, it seems like.
Yeah.
The final one they came out with was the Slim E, which is even smaller than the Slim, at a 250 gig hard drive also. It basically was just a little kind of, I think it was about 20 to 30% smaller than the actual Slim model.
Right.
Now the 360 also too was also backwards compatible with all the Xbox games.
Yes, it was.
So that was a good, nice feature that Microsoft left in there, which they didn't continue that till just recently, but we'll get into that here in a minute.
Yeah. Hey, but they did.
Next one we're going to jump right into is Nintendo's big gun, the Wii.
Yeah, that lasted from 06 to 011. It only lasted 5 years, but boy, did it start a craze. I mean, people were going insane over the system, because we were running Game Addicts at the time, or it was just me at that time, and it was, you got one. I mean, you could sell it for $500-600 if you wanted to.
I did get one, actually. I got one on launch day. I was actually working at Walmart still. Yeah. And closing that day, and I was leaving, and they had the line starting up. They had 20 units they got in of the Wii, so they had the line starting up right there. I saw the line. There was about 7 people in line at the time. So I sat there and went home, took a shower, come back. By the time I come back, there was about 11 people in line. So I stood in line for a couple hours, got a Wii.
Yeah, I actually showed up there afterwards too and got one.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, for this Game Star.
Now, the Wii was also backwards compatible with GameCube games. And they also introduced the Miiverse, which you can get on there and like get with other people that have a Wii. You can create your little avatar. You can actually get in there and chat with them. They have a little area, I guess you can.
Right.
Like a little area you can meet with your other Mii people, friends, or whatever. So.
Yeah, this Wii system sold 101 million units,
which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, and the best-selling game? Okay, I'll give you guys a minute to think about it. We touched on it a little earlier. It's Wii Sports, that's right. Yeah, number 1 game in history. sold, what, 84 million copies or something like that?
Yeah, 80, 82, 84, something like that.
82 million copies?
Again, because it came with the console.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't have a choice but to get the game. I mean, you bought the game or you didn't. So, but the next system to come out was the PlayStation 3. And, I always thought that the PlayStation 3 was a flop. But, looking at the numbers, it really wasn't the flop that I thought it was.
I know it sold pretty good. It had a huge run those first initial ones that came out. I know when they first come out, there was two different versions you can get. They had a 20 gig, they had a 60 gig. The 20 gig which is still to this date, I think they're still insanely priced, but $4.99 for the 20 gig, and then $5.99 for the 60 gig.
Right.
However,
the 20 gig was not backwards compatible.
No, and the 60 gig was backwards compatible with the PlayStation 2 games, PlayStation 1
And
games.
you also said the 80 gig was partially backwards compatible.
Yes, which I actually bought that one. It came with the Metal Gear Solid 4. It was a bundle pack. I bought that. So, but yes, that one was backwards compatible. This sold just around 80 million units.
Yeah, which is pretty good because, well, we forgot to touch what the 360 sold, which was 84 million units. So we're pretty compatible. Xbox 360 won the war that year, that generation, but PlayStation was right behind it. It's not like what it is now.
Well, keep in mind too, the Xbox 360 released a couple months before the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3. I mean.
Right.
Sure. It released in September, October, where the PlayStation 3 released in November.
Yeah.
So it did release a couple months before.
Yeah, they jumped the market because that's why they had such problems with the 360 was because they were trying to speed them out to the market.
And it bit them in the ass.
Yep. And the best-selling game on the PS3 was, again, GTA 5. I see a trend here with Sony.
Yeah, a bunch of punk kids playing games, thinking they could get away with stuff.
That's right.
Like
You're
my
wanting to
punk
rob
kid and his punk friends.
Rob and kill people and rape women, and I don't know, you can't rape women.
No, but you can.
You can visit prostitutes.
Purchase them.
Yes.
And then kill them and get your money back.
That's right. You can make your car shake and then get your money back.
Yeah. The Slim model came out in 2009, which was, I think they increased the memory on it up to 100, started at 120 gigs. And it kind of went up from there. And then they came out with the Super Slim model in 2012, which...
this is just like let's do something different to make people buy it again.
Yeah. Well, the Super Slim model was, I told you we were talking about this earlier, is funny. All it is it's real small, and then to put the disc in, you have to actually slide a compartment over it, put the disc in, slide it back. Right. It's like, hey, let's just cut this whole section out and make people slide a piece of plastic over it, and we'll sell it.
Right.
And people bought it.
They did. And then the next system, speaking of people buying it, is the Wii U, which came out in 2012, only a few years after the Wii.
Yeah.
6 years again. Nintendo's been running into this here. Every 5-6 years, they've been pumping out a console where Sony and Microsoft have been waiting 9-10 years.
Well, Sony and Microsoft always said they always want to have sort of a 10-year plan.
Right.
Before they come out with a brand new console. Of course, Nintendo, it doesn't seem like they... I don't know. It seems like when they come out with their stuff, it's like, okay, here you go. We're going to put out some more Mario and Zelda games, and there you go. And it's like nothing ever original comes out from Nintendo. It's like maybe the game design changes, but it's still Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong.
Right, but I'm going to keep spending my money for Mario.
Well, yes. As long as it's not Mario Party.
Yes.
Or it could be Mario Party, just don't invite certain people over.
That threaten to rape and kill you.
The Wii U sold to date, sold about 13 million units, which is not bad, I guess.
Not for a $299 basic price point, I think.
See, and here's the thing. I bought my kid a Wii U. Given the option, it had the $299 basic price point, which was 8 gigs of internal memory. Or it had $349, which was the deluxe edition. It had 32 gigs of internal memory, and it came with a game.
Yeah.
So I mean, what's
$50 more, you might as well get the game and the extra memory.
now? It did have you can use a internal SD card for more memory if you wanted to. They had SD slots on there. They also had USB slots, so they had different things you can use also. But you know, its best-selling game.
Mario Kart 8.
Yes, which again, we were talking about this games that ended relationships and friendships.
Yeah, 7.5 million copies of Mario Kart 8 sold, and 13 million Wii U's were sold.
It was backwards compatible with the Wii games.
Yes, it was.
One thing I really did like about the Wii U is the gamepad. Basically, the controller. It was just almost like a little touchscreen pad.
Yeah.
You could actually switch back and forth.
Yeah, you can actually play games where you could be like you're watching the TV screen and you got to actually tap the screen on your hand to make things happen on the screen out there.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, you could actually, and if you're watching Netflix or you're watching Hulu or something on there, and someone want to watch TV, you can switch that to your little handheld and just watch it right there. Plug in your headset and just watch it right there. And again, like even the games too, the actual games themselves. Someone wanted to watch TV or something, you can just switch to your handheld, play the game right on the handheld while they're watching TV. That was pretty neat.
Yeah.
I do like that point of it. That was pretty neat.
My daughter will play Mario Kart. She'll just pick up the gamepad and play Mario Kart while I'm watching TV. So it is quite convenient. So the next system that came out was the PS4.
2013 to present.
And they are currently winning the console war with 40 million units.
Very heavily.
Yeah, almost double. Or they are double.
Yeah. Ups and downs of this thing, of course, it's got a better processor. It runs at 1080p at 60 frames per second. However, it is not backwards compatible with PS3 games.
No.
You can go on, we were talking about this earlier, the PlayStation Now, and you can download games if you want to buy them all over again.
Or you can rent them for $15 for 90 days.
Yes. PlayStation Network allows you certain things. It gives you deals on games and stuff that they give you, just like Xbox Live does. However, it limits the chat. We were talking about this before. Like if you get on and play like multiplayer games, you can't get on there and chat with people if you don't have the PlayStation Network. However, you can still chat with people in a party.
Right. So I could still play a game with you online in a private party.
Yeah.
Do they actually allow the games to play like that now? Where you could play in party?
I'm not sure. I've been on there and chatted with people while playing other games, so I'm not positive, to be honest.
It used to be you couldn't be in a party and a game at the same time.
I know Xbox limits some of that stuff. Of course, its best-selling game was Hello.
Yeah, Uncharted 4.
That's right. Drake.
Yeah.
And not the singer.
I have never played an Uncharted game.
Oh, fantastic.
I'll have to try them out.
Absolutely fantastic. In fact, I'll when I post this, I'll post a picture of my Drake statue that I have. That's right. I got a Drake statue.
Yeah, that can be our logo or image for the week is your Drake statue.
That's right. Leading into the next one, we're just talking about Xbox One.
Yep, that came out in 2013 as well, and they've only sold 20 million units, which, like I said, is half of what.
Which now that was up to I think up to 2015.
Yeah.
Like March of 2015. Now around then, that's when they started changing their price point. They dropped the Kinect out of it, so I'd be curious to see what the sales are. I know that over the last couple of quarters last year, they were beating PlayStation in some of the sales because of that particular reason.
And backwards compatibility certainly helps now that they've updated their system to allow backwards compatibility with certain titles.
And they're releasing more and more titles every week, it seems like.
Right. But I think Xbox One was doomed to win the console war with the $499 launch price. I think $500 for a system is just crazy. I bought one.
I did too. I got the day one edition.
So did I.
So,
which was the 500 gig hard drive.
It seems like nowadays that's going to be. It looks like it's going to be the price point. Now with um, the new consoles they're releasing, Xbox has talked about the slim models coming out now.
Right.
Now all the price points obviously have dropped since then. I believe that Xbox One now, the original version, the 500 gig one, you can get for around $279.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I said, that 250 mark right in there, that's a sweet spot for owning a console, I think. And then getting down to that price point is really going to help their sales.
yeah. But with the slim models coming out, they're coming out with 3 different models. You're gonna get you can get a 500 gig and 1 terabyte or a 2 terabyte hard drive, and they're gonna start at $299, and then they're gonna go to $349 and then $399.
Yeah, and let me tell you, if you're in the market to buy one, buy the 2 terabyte hard drive. Your hard drive fills up fast.
Extremely fast.
I mean, especially if you're an Xbox Live member and you want the free games they give you every month. Those games, they take some memory to store. So it's
Yeah,
if you don't get the
you're
good 2 terabyte hard drive, you're going to be deleting and installing
well. Just the
over and
Master
over
Chief
again.
collection was like 70 gigs.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, it gets pretty ridiculous. Best-selling game for Xbox One to date, Black Ops 3.
Yeah.
Just about 7 million copies, which is pretty great. A lot of people thought maybe Halo, but no, Halo wasn't. I think Halo sold about 3.5 million copies.
Yep.
So
Almost 4 million, but
that's pretty much all we have to date on as far as all the consoles out now. I know everyone, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft has announced new consoles coming out. There's a lot of speculation on stuff. There's nothing super definite. I know Sony released some of their specs online for the Neo, they're calling it.
right.
That's not really a definite name. I know I was telling you earlier when the PS4 came out, it was nicknamed the Orbis. So they're not even sure they're going to call it the Neo.
Right. It's just we're in rumorville right now, but we got Project Scorpio, we got the NX. Well, the NX
the
has been
NX is confirmed.
You're
NX
right.
is confirmed. It's due out March of next year.
So, and then we have Project Neo.
But a lot of but even though the NX is confirmed, there's still a lot of speculation of what it's going to be like.
Right. They're talking cartridges.
They're talking going back to cartridges with it, which I guess can store an abundance amount of memory on it.
Right. Well, they're microchips.
Yeah.
So.
And I was showing you some of that stuff earlier. It looks like they're sacrificing some of the graphics for processing power.
Yeah, because the NX is actually going down, and it won't be able to play at 1080p any longer.
Yeah, where you got systems like the Neo and the Scorpio coming out that are
going towards 4K.
Gearing towards 4K, which if anybody knows, the human eye can't comprehend 2160p. So I think Sony was talking about they're trying to get the frame rate at least up to
1440 or
1440. Yeah, they're trying to get it the up to where I think that's about the max that the human eye can comprehend at 60 frames per second, which is pretty phenomenal. If anyone's ever played something or seen something in full 1080p, imagine that times multiply that by a half of that, and you're going a little higher. That's about all I really got. If you guys can think of anything else that we missed, or maybe might.
Yeah, I want you guys to comment on YouTube or on Facebook. We definitely like to comment, so we'll play around with you. We are planning a show. Chris came up with an idea of me watching mech anime because I hate mech animes.
He says he hates them. So if anyone has any suggestions, please throw them out there. We're going to give him about a month or so to watch a bunch of animes, and then we're going to come back in and kind of let him review them and see what he thinks. And ones that I haven't seen that he has, and then I'll watch them also, so that way I can kind of keep up with them. Starting at the end of this month, we're going to go strictly YouTube. We're going to get away from our Podbean.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of a pointless account to have. We do have a few people that are listening to us on there. Not saying that Podbean ain't cool. It's just it's more user friendly for us to do it on YouTube. So if you want to come over to YouTube or follow us on Facebook and just click on our links on Facebook every week, I mean, that would probably be the easiest way to get our podcast.
That's right. It's Mike and Chris Reloaded at Facebook, or Mike and Chris Reloaded on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just bored or something, you can just Google Mike and Chris Reloaded. We're the first person to come up, so you don't have to.
There's no other Mike and Chris Reloaded out there.
There's no other Mike and Chris Reloaded, so that's it. We're the original.
Check us next week. We're coming at you with a little bit of Ghostbusters.
Yeah, which we're going to be talking about in depth with our only live Ghostbuster in the area.
Yeah, maybe he can stop that person that's trying to threaten to kill you and rape your wife.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to ask him. Maybe he can stop that.
Anyway, thanks for listening. Again, don't forget to comment and like our page, and we'll see you next time.
All right, later, guys.